You probably recall that in the 60s, every city was crowded and noisy, but something was happening just below the surface in San Antonio. A small group of businessmen and architects were rekindling the dream of a better city life. Once again, the river was their inspiration. A local businessman, David Strauss, led the group.
The development of Paseo Del Rio as we know it today really happened in three distinct segments. The first was the effort back in 1924 whereby they saved the river bend. The second took place in the 30s. Then, of course, the last one was our effort to take advantage of all of these things and get some commercial development down there. So these three things is what really produced the Paseo Del Rio. There was a group of us in an informal conversation, and someone said, you know, the Riverwalk has a lot of potential. So we thought that the best thing to do was to have some professionals give us some kind of plan. That's when Cy Wagner came into the picture.
As an architect, an urban designer, and a member of the American Institute of Architects, I was asked to form a committee to work with David Strauss on the Riverwalk. This committee, working together with my architectural firm, developed an urban design plan which brought all the various parts into a whole. The pedestrian movement system, the night lighting, the plant materials, the buildings, the signage, and the various use activities. We devised plans for reorienting the buildings so that they turned around to face the river, and by utilizing the Riverwalk, we showed the possibilities for developing community activity and community businesses.
But even with the city backing the effort to bring life to the buildings on the Big Bend, it was still tough for young businesses on the river, as Hap Biltman can tell you.
I'm Hap Biltman, and I've been involved with the San Antonio River since 1962. I have several businesses on the river now, and in the course of that time, I must say that it has been a relatively difficult task, but an exciting one, and one that I have enjoyed thoroughly. Essentially, if one is going to be involved with development on the river, you have some parameters that you don't have at street level. You have flood control for one. This has been one of the most serious problems in getting people to develop on the river, because we don't have an adequate flood control program that has been implemented at this particular time and place. I believe that it takes a certain a unique development approach that you might not have if you were developing, say, in a mall or in the suburbs or in any other area of downtown San Antonio. We've been particularly lucky. We've had some fine buildings to work with. They haven't been torn down like a lot of buildings in the downtown have. We have a great group of architects in San Antonio who have been able to address those problems and been able to come up with some very nice products.
Well, those architects have done a good job. But folks who study cities will tell you that buildings don't make a good city by themselves. You've got to have trees, flowers, walkways, street furniture, and places for people to gather. All that, with the glimmer of sun on quiet water, can make a city delightful. But we sometimes forget that part of building anything that people use is keeping it running. And in the special and sometimes delicate environment along the Riverwalk, it takes special care from some unique people.
My name is Bob Frasier, and for over 18 years, I was Director of Parks and Recreation for the city of San Antonio. One of my major responsibilities was to maintain the river as a linear park. The San Antonio River, of course, is located right in the heart, core area of the city of San Antonio, which is one of our larger metropolitan areas. One of the very interesting features of the river is actually a botanical garden, and I would think it's probably the only or the largest botanical garden right in the very core or heart area of any large city in America. There are many hundreds of varieties of tropical plants that grow on the river. The river actually can support plants that would normally in the wintertime freeze up on the street level. The maintenance or housekeeping chores on the river are very interesting. Although it is typical park maintenance, it's rather different in that all of the maintenance crews operate from barges which we utilize to transport the equipment and the men up and down the river. The river is a place that, of course, is a showplace of San Antonio, so it must be kept scrupulously clean. All of the security on the river, which is very good, incidentally, with practically no minor happenings of crime on the river, is totally policed by the Park Ranger Division, which is a division, of course, of the San Antonio Parks and Recreation Department. Not only do these rangers protect people and property, they are also very well oriented in tourist attractions and the various things to see in San Antonio. They're quite familiar with all the aspects of the river and portions of the river. They do an extremely good job with tourists in actually explaining how the river came about and the present day features that we have on the river. The river has an attractiveness to people that is really sometimes hard to understand or explain unless one has been on the river. It's a very tranquil place. The transition between the urban surrounding area of the city down to the river is very marked. You get down on the river in a very peaceful, beautiful, tranquil scene, and it's just very hard to realize that you're in the heart of a major city.
Today, the river is really blossoming. Remember way back when the first people who settled here lived right on the river? Well, that's happening all over again. Now people want to live right beside the Riverwalk. Nancy Negley is one of the new neighbors down here.
I'm Nancy Negley, and I live on the river, and I love it. I think when I moved down to the river and downtown, my friends thought, you know, it's just a touch of madness. Really living on the river is absolutely great. You never feel lonely. You don't have a sense of loneliness ever because there's so many people. And in the morning on Sunday, it's really great because it's so quiet. And you go down for your Sunday paper and you hear the church bells ring. And the tourists begin to filter out of the hotels and onto the river. It really is just lovely. I wish more people could live downtown. There are just no more apartments available right now. There's a great demand, I think, but just there are not any apartments that are ready. There's some that are planned for the future.
Then there are the children, whose memories are once again formed by the river.
Yes, once we saw some baby ducks. You know what? You know that place where there's cars drive through it and water goes over it. We saw the ducks by it there.
When I'm in downtown, I see a whole bunch of people in cars, and it's too loud. I cannot even think or daydream. People walking, pushing, cars honking. Just not quite like in the park by the river. In the river, I just could hear the water slowly go down and fall. And I watch it while it goes past by me.
What's that? Now, Charlie, what are you doing now?
I like the animals that are in it, like ducks and...
Here's my duck.
Fish and...
Now, Charlie, what are you doing?
It's a duck.
This is a duck? What's happening? Because you can swim and go on a paddle and fish. This black feather is yellow and black. And it looks like
The fact is that today every man, woman, and child in San Antonio has memories of good times by the river. And that's because it gives people a great place to celebrate. One special celebration is the Christmas procession called Las Posadas. The trees are ablaze with Christmas lights and the river is lined with candles. Three children, costumed as Mary, Joseph, and the Archangel, lead a procession and symbolically knock on doors along the river, searching for an inn. People from all over San Antonio follow with lighted candles. Mariachis pace the procession along the glowing banks of the river to La Villita. And finally, at a tiny chapel in the restored village, the three are accepted with a welcoming song. Then the chill night erupts with laughter, piñatas, and the music of a San Antonio Christmas.